Everybody has an opinion, some more justified than others, but when you look at the evidence of a certain topic, most people gravitate towards one or two conclusions. But some people see differently than others. Maybe they value certain pieces of evidence more than others, or maybe they have new information that recontextualizes the whole conversation. Yet the majority will still disagree with them, and these opinions are colloquially known as hot takes. And today, we'll be going over some of my community's hottest takes and see if there is some truth to the madness, or if they really are delusional. Psst, hey kid. This video is sponsored by SkinsMonkey. SkinsMonkey is a 24/7 online trading service for CS2 that is extremely easy to use. You just select your skins that you want to trade, the skins that you want to trade for, and they'll send you the offer. Right now, they are offering up to a 30% bonus on your first deposit, and up to 35% if you use my code WAZOO at the top, along with an additional free $5 if you make a trade worth $100. That's a lot of free money. Check out SkinsMonkey today and use my code WAZOO. Thank you, SkinsMonkey. Let's start with a take that actually doesn't come from my community, but one that all Counter-Strike content creators will eventually have to answer. And that's what my stance on gambling is. Now, to be clear, I am very against gambling in all forms. However, that does not mean I am not in some way complicit. Gambling in Counter-Strike has now spread even beyond just shady websites and case unboxings. It's also how a lot of pro teams make a majority of their money. And as a CS2 content creator who uses a lot of content from professional tournaments, I am more complacent with teams taking money from gambling sites. My last video was on Xantares, who he and his team transferred from Eternal Fire to Aurora in light of Turkey's tightened regulations on gambling. And I'll admit, my first reaction to this news wasn't righteous fury about immorality of gambling. I found myself echoing the same sentiments that I've heard thousands of times by fans, the same 4 words that I swore to resist on my own channel. Go get that bag. Because at the end of the day, esports is a highly unprofitable field, with most teams losing thousands, if not millions of dollars in operational costs. So by taking money from gambling sites, no matter how dirty it is, really does help keep these teams afloat, especially with how much money is being offered. And I directly profit off of those teams who are able to sustain themselves with gambling sponsorships because I make videos with the content that they provide. So as much as it would be easy to say gambling bad, because it is bad, I am, at the end of the day, partially able to make these videos because of Counter-Strike gambling. Wow, that was heavy. Let's do a take that is less depressing. I swear this won't be the norm around here. This commenter said that he could very easily see Vitality become the next Astralis. This other commenter said that Vitality won't become the next Astralis. To future-proof this video a little bit, Vitality are currently on a dominant streak in the first quarter of 2025, winning IEM Katowice 2025, ESL Pro League Season 21, Blast Open Lisbon 2025, and now IEM Melbourne 2025, completing the 5th ESL Grand Slam. But I still don't think that they will become the next Astralis, and I think the next Astralis is still far away. I want to shift the attention away from Vitality for a bit, and more on this old Astralis roster, because as hard as it is to appreciate Astralis now, especially as they have now missed their 5th major in a row, this old lineup has done more for Counter-Strike's meta than any other team. The key word in this debate is innovation. Astralis revolutionized how teams use utility and played a much more team-centric game. The distance in strategic depth between Astralis and every other team was so wide that even as other teams began copying Astralis' strats and setups, Astralis already had counter setups mapped out for their own strategies. And the DNA from the Astralis playbook is still felt in every team's strategies today. So to me, the next Astralis would have to make a similar, if not greater, leap in strategic innovation to replicate Astralis' success. We've seen super strong teams after Astralis: 2019 Liquid, 2021 Na'Vi, 2022 FaZe, 2023 Vitality, early CS2 phase, 2024 Team Spirit and Na'Vi. These teams maintained periods of greatness and were absolutely dominant mechanically and even strategically. But they weren't innovative. They were just better than their competition, and that's not enough to sustain a dynasty. So ultimately, I don't think this Vitality roster is going to be the next Astralis. They just aren't bringing enough new ideas to the table. Hope I'm wrong though. Kyoseki and Donk could work in a team with the meta being so T-sided. If you don't know, Kyoseki is an absolutely phenomenal player on Team Spirit Academy. Super clean aim, great movement, seems like a good team player, and he is hailed to be Donk 2.0. I'll comment about the T-sided meta in a little bit, but what I will say now is that if Donk and Kyoseki were to play exactly as they play now on a team together, that would not look good on paper. The best duos in Counter-Strike history have always had two distinct roles, and even if it's not just an AWPer rifler combo, the most famous rifler duo is Forrest and GetRight, who were an entry fragger lurker duo. Now the reason for that is a lot simpler than you think. Both players can shine statistically if they take the same fights. If we were to have both Donk and Kyoseki as entries, Donk would entry, get 2, and Kyoseki would have 0 kills and a bad rating. If Donk dies, Kyoseki gets 2, but Donk would still have 0 and a bad rating. Compare this to Forrest GetRight, where Forrest can get 2 kills on the entry, and GetRight could get 2 kills on the lurk. Now they both have 2 kills, which makes both of them look good on paper. But Counter-Strike isn't played on paper, and functionally, Donk and Kyoseki would be a great combo. Take one godlike entry fragger onto the site, and if the CTs somehow manage to stop him, the second version of him comes out and does the same thing. It's unstoppable. So yes, Donk and Kyoseki would most likely work together, but one of them would probably get hated on since most people only watch the stats. The game being T-sided is more fun, more watchable, more dynamic on both sides, and more skill intensive. I tend to agree with the first statement. Aggressive gameplay is more fun for me to watch. I would rather watch any 2020 Furia game with Art running it down than the best game from Jane. Having said that, more highlights are generated in CT metas because the likelihood that you could get a quick multi-kill is so much higher on the CT side since the Ts are more likely to be grouped up. Watch any player highlight videos and like a good 70% of the clips will be from the CT side. The potential for really high highs is much more present in CT-sided metas. The comment about dynamic play goes both ways. Overpass is mentioned explicitly here as a map that was unfun to watch, since it felt like CTs could be everywhere at once. But I would also argue that a T-sided map like Anubis is also unfun to watch because the Ts could be everywhere. It really comes down to the map and how much leniency it allows for both teams to rotate. The real hot take for me is that I would argue that CT-sided metas offer more individual skill expression, because again, you naturally have less help from your teammates, so your individual value on a site can be felt much more. And if the CT side is stronger, more highlights are generated. But the T side does offer more team-based skill, since you do have help from your team, leading to very interesting strats that are also fun to watch. Gun to my head, if I had to choose, I would take a CT-sided meta because I love watching big multi-frags where a defender locks down an area, but I do enjoy this T-side meta quite a bit as well. I'm split on this take. The new update only being about skins makes me worry about the state of the game. Again, to future-proof, the most recent major update to CS2 at the time of making this video is the Spring Forward update, where Valve, instead of fixing the more than numerous issues with CS2, decided to release 4 new skins collections, a revamped skin collection for Train, and a few tweaks to Inferno and Train. Now I would be lying if I said that I'm not also worried for CS2's future. As a more than avid Team Fortress 2 fan, I know this treatment from Valve personally, and because TF2 has managed to survive and thrive, even though the last major update was 8 years ago, I think Valve is starting to entertain the idea of a less updated CS2. Now the problem with that is that CS2 and TF2 are two very different games. TF2 embraces silliness, jankiness, and is overall okay if the gameplay itself is not perfect. It's part of what makes TF2 so charming. CS2, however, is a competitive esports shooter where there are tournaments for millions of dollars. The game should work. So if Valve takes the approach to CS2 where the slight jankiness is supposed to be a fun element of the game, and they stop delving resources into fixing it, CS2 is going to die so fast. CS2 is not as bad as people say. Oh, coming off of my last response, you might expect that I would absolutely clown on this take. But honestly, I have had a pretty good experience with CS2. I play on a super powerful PC. I play from my university dorm, so my Wi-Fi and connection are super good. I rarely encounter cheaters. I've never really had a problem with CS2 from a gameplay perspective. But believe me, I have seen the experiences that other people have, and to keep it short, you guys have my sympathy. But that's all I have for you guys today. Let me know in the comments if you agree or disagree, but also leave your hot takes in there as well. This has been such a fun video to make, and I hope to make more of these in the future. And if you enjoyed the content, consider leaving a like and subscribe. Other than that, I'll see you guys very soon.